If you ain't a gator, you must be gator bait. If you ain't a gator, you must be gator bait.
Welcome back and welcome in. It's another episode of If You Ain't a Gator podcast, a part of the Stadium and Gale Network. Tonight, I got my man Connor Clark with me, Hollywood himself. I appreciate you coming on, man. How's it going?
Going well, man. I appreciate you having me on. It's been an eventful week for sure. So excited to excited to talk Gator football with you and go from there.
Yeah, man. First of all, I want to start off by saying congratulations on the news about the baby. That's exciting news.
It's very exciting stuff.
Ready for some sleepless nights?
It's already started, so hopefully it's not too much worse. But hey, I'm ready for it.
I hear you, man. Well, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We are going to dive into the UF versus FSU game, and we are going to dive into our new coach, John Summerall, and our new defensive coordinator, Brad White. I almost just messed up. Before we get started, every time I have a new guest in here, I have a question I always have to ask. Who is your favorite Florida Gator of all time?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I really have to think about that. I mean, probably off rip, first name that comes to my mind is Percy. Just watching him growing up was electric. Coming up playing football, I would probably have to say Ahmad Black, just because played a lot of safety. Tried to model my game after his when I was younger, and definitely somebody that I, as not necessarily a big DB when I was playing high school ball, tried to take as much from his game and learn from his game as much as I could and translate that onto the field.
Okay, yeah, I love it. I always tell people my favorite. It goes back and forth. It's either Reggie Nelson or Vernon Hargraves. I can't pick between the two, but I think at the end of the day, I got to rock with Vern. Honestly, I always say Reggie, but I know that at the end of the day, it's got to be Vern. But yeah, so diving into this Florida State game, just give me your takeaway from it. What are the things you saw that you loved, and maybe even some things you didn't like? It's hard not to love beating the brakes off them, but just give me your outlook and your take on the game, goods, bads, whatever you want to tell, anything.
Yeah, I think the easy answer is obviously feeding Jaden Baugh as much as they did. Going into the game needing, I think it was like 96 yards to be the first 1,000-yard rusher since Kelvin Taylor in, I think, 2015. I thought, I told everybody, I was like, priority one, obviously win the game. Priority two, get him to 1,000 yards.
Yep.
So to see him get fed the rock like he was, racking up, I think it was 266 yards. He damn near got to 1,200 in that game. So to see him be as successful as he was, be only, I saw Florida Post, only the third sophomore in program history to break 1,000 yards in a season. So really, really impressed by the way he played. And of course, you love to see him just destroy a team like FSU growing up as a Florida fan. So that was nice. DJ had some nice moments, a couple of missed throws here and there. But all in all, well-executed game. Defense played well for the most part. Couple of explosives that they let off. But that's going to happen when you have a 6'6", 1,000-yard receiver like Bruce Robinson on the outside.
Yeah.
And somebody as dynamic as Thomas Castellanos at quarterback. As much as he's not your prototypical beat you through the air quarterback, he's a dynamic athlete, can make some things happen. So you always have to worry about that. Defensively, I thought they played well. Not superb, but well enough to beat a team like that. And obviously you saw the result of it. So it was fun. I was there, got to enjoy the atmosphere. Everybody was a little down going into the game, obviously with the Lane Kiffin news that Florida had moved on from Lane Kiffin. But yeah, once the game started, once Florida started running it up, the environment and the swamp is always fantastic.
Yeah, you can't beat it. Honestly, I don't ever. I heard listening to a little bit of Lane's press conference, and he's talking about Tiger Stadium at night, and I'm like, come on, bro, come on. Like, you had to deal with Florida Stadium last year at like what 3:30 or something like that, and you guys couldn't handle it. So I don't hear him, trotting off at the mouth like that. You brought it up. Just even seeing that Jaden Baugh is the first underclassman to reach 1,000 yards since Emmett is absolutely insane. And I think that for the game on Saturday, I think that the O-line did him every bit of justice that he needed. They opened up the running lanes for him, and I mean, he was just running like a madman. Honestly, I mean, he was running like you were trying to steal the food off his plate. But I think that looking at that game, honestly, and just I really wonder what could have come about with his rushing yards if the O-line had been better for him, like they were on Saturday just throughout the season. I don't think it could have. I don't think this season could have ended any better with how bad it was and how ugly of a season it was for Jaden Baugh to get the 1,000 yards, for us to absolutely smack them in the mouth. And just beat the brakes off of them. I said it on the show right after Billy got fired. I was like, the one thing I want is just go beat FSU, please. Like, I don't expect us to beat others, but go beat them. It's capable of happening. And then to go and do it, it's just, man, I don't want to see the season go, but what a beautiful way to end it. I thought the defense played great. I was very, very worried going into the game of how they were going to contain TC because he's just so fast. And when he decides to take off, even, just up the middle or just rolling out to the left or the right, I didn't know how they would do it with containing him. I think for the most part, they did an amazing job. Like you said, it's really hard to cover 6'6". I mean, you can only ask so much. We had freshmen out there playing DB, severely hurt, and I thought that they did an outstanding job. My favorite thing is watching people do the gator chomp in the swamp and then to get treated the way they did. So, yeah, overall, I thought it was a great game played offense, defensively. Like you said, there's some missed throws by DJ. I do like that he's taking a lot of accountability and showing that, like, hey, I'm not who I should be. And just seeing him take that leadership, I think it shows that he wants to get better and he's willing to get better. And I think that I may be wrong. He may hit the transfer portal, but I think he's a Gator at heart and I think he stays a Gator. But yeah, there's not really much on that game. It's the Jaden Baugh show, and that was really it. He did what he wanted when he wanted to that defense. I saw an FSU guy who I guess has a podcast, and he was talking about that Jaden Baugh is more of a man than everybody on the defense. And, he said that Florida told them and showed them in the, in the lineup, this is what we're going to do. And there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm like, you can't define it any better. It was the Jaden Baugh show. So that was on that. I know what everybody's really wanting to hear about. We'll dive into the John Summerall talk. Just give me, I guess, from the start of it. I know that we all, we really wanted Lane. I think for the most part, the majority of the fan base. What was your initial reaction? How have you, over the couple of days, how have you grown and where are you at with him right now?
Yeah, I think obviously the initial reaction to moving on from someone as established and as sought after as Lane Kiffin is obviously going to be disappointment with any other name that pops up. I think Florida kind of went into the coaching search, or at least the fans did for sure, of Lane Kiffin or bust.
Yeah.
And when that article came out from Zach Abelverde that Florida was moving on from Lane Kiffin, and the search was then centered around John Summerall, of course, everybody's thinking G5, Louisiana, 4 years coaching experience as a head coach. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But you kind of look a little bit deeper. 2 different programs, success at both. Every year that he's been a head coach, he's been in the conference championship game. He didn't necessarily have to rebuild Tulane because Fritz was good there. But when he got to Troy, Troy was a complete rebuild, and he flipped them quick. Was there for 2 years, won, I think, as many games as could possibly have won, just about, and won. Was in the Sun Belt Conference Championship his first year, and then won the Sun Belt Conference Championship his second year. before getting the opportunity at Tulane. And I mean, I wouldn't say so. Tulane is one of the better G5 schools. I think Summerall said it best in his press conference. It was either yesterday or today. Tulane's not your typical G5 school. It's one of the better of those. Obviously, if you've had your mind made up that it was Lane Kiffin and nobody else, you're not going to hear anything that anybody else has to say with regards to how they like John Summerall, how they think he might fit here. The ringing endorsements that he's gotten from Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier and Danny Warfel. You're just going to have to see what he does and puts it together on the field. After the press conference yesterday, serious Dan Campbell vibes. I think I tweeted that out. A real bite your kneecap off kind of guy. Just looks like a football junkie, loves the game. Obviously, former SEC linebacker. So he knows the conference. He's coached in the conference. He's played in the conference. So I think he has that going for him. Besides the fact that he kind of set himself up. Like he said, I'm a winner. I win. We're going to win here. Bit of a page from the Kurt Signetti playbook on that one in the press conference. So, I mean, I loved what I heard from him yesterday. I think he's going to be a phenomenal motivator. He had 90% of the fan base ready to run through a wall after that press conference, myself included. So obviously the next step is just seeing how successful he is at putting together a coaching staff. And of course, keeping the recruiting class together and keeping the roster together. Obviously priority one with all Florida's players being able to hit the transfer portal as of Friday, is getting in there, talking to them, which he did yesterday in their team meeting, and trying to keep that roster as intact as possible because there is talent.
Yeah. When I first saw Zach's tweet, I was like, you can just go ahead and end it. Like, I was like, I'm just so done. Like, and I just felt it when I saw that, like, moving on, I'm like, I know it's Summerall. Like, I know it is. Like, I'm like, I can feel it in my soul. There's not going to be, this is no, like, turnkey special. This is no Jimmy Sexton special. And then it just caught like wildfire. Like, he posted it, and then it was just like Pete Thamel, and I mean, it's just like, doom, 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 doom. I was like, oh, and I felt overwhelmed. And I just like, I mean, we're in the same Discords, you know, being on X, and I was like, I got to sign out of everything. Like, I can't look at this stuff because I'm getting stressed. I'm getting mad. Like, I was frustrated. I think obviously everybody had the same exact initial reaction was, oh my word, like another G5 from Louisiana. And like, then you look at the stats. I mean, just looking at everything as a whole, I got a screenshot here of just the rundown of the two, and just comparing the two, and it's 4 years at Louisiana, the 2 years and 2 years, and it's 40-12, 42-11, 16-3, 15-3. I mean, and there's a whole list where it's identical. Like, yeah, I'm like, oh my God, I'm looking at a mirror right now. And that's literally what my thought was. I was like, we just hired the same person. I did like this Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other, same thing. And then he talked at the press conference, and I was like, okay. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just like trying to buy myself into it. I was like, this feels different than Billy's was. So I went back and I watched Billy's like a madman. And then I watched Summerall's again to just kind of get the feel for it. And after watching both of them, you can tell a winner from someone who's just like, I don't know if I'd call Billy a leader, but I don't think Billy's a bad head coach. I know a lot of people are going to attack me from that. I think Billy's a good head coach at a lower level. John Summerall, I think, has that it factor to him that he can be a great coach at any level. And just watching him and hearing what he had to say, like you said, winners win and I'm a winner. Him talking about playing basketball in the backyard with his son, and he's like, he's going to lose because I don't like to lose. I love hearing that stuff because I get like that. I got a almost 12-year-old son, and when we compete in something, I'm like, no, I don't want to lose. Like, I'm like, I need to teach him how to win. I'm like, no, I can't. Like, I'm too competitive. So listening to him talk and listening to what he had to say, he's a football guy. He gives me a little bit of like Rob Gronkowski vibes. I don't know if that's a little bit of the CTE talking, but it's there. There's some just like great points in there. And again, I am very much so. I'm bought in. He's the head coach of the University of Florida. I'm going to, cheer for whoever. I don't care if you could put anybody in there, and I'm going to cheer as hard as I can go because they're rocking the orange and blue too. But one of the main things that was brought up to him, I thought was a great question, was talking about hiring friends. And he said, I don't hire my friends. I think that's going to be a little twisted with who he hired as a DC, which we'll touch on. But I think people took out of that what they wanted to hear. They didn't finish it. They just heard, I don't hire my friends. And they didn't get to the part where he said, because if they're not qualified for the job. Like, you can have a friend if they're qualified for that position. But him talking about that and just the thing about winning now, like, that was one of the main things I remember that just stuck out to me when Billy had his press conferences. He told everybody, you're going to get frustrated with me. You're going to get annoyed, but I'm going to take time to build I'm going to build a machine here, and we're going to win, but it's going to take some time. And he said, I'm not patient. Like, I want to win tomorrow. I want to win today. And I was like, all right, you talk really, really good, and you got me sold. Like, I'm ready to rock with you. Like you said, I was ready to run through a brick wall.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway as far as the difference. Not just the energy, obviously. The energy is completely different. Billy never kind of even keeled the whole time, never too high, never too low. This guy, just from talking in the press conference, and then, of course, the clips that have hit the timeline, stuff like that, you can see this guy's super passionate, very fiery. But I think the biggest takeaway that I got from hearing him talk about what he has in store for Florida, what he thinks, and he said it himself, he had options because he did. Auburn wanted him. Ole Miss wanted him if Lane was going to leave, which he ended up doing. Obviously, Kentucky fans are super pissed that they didn't fire Mark Stoops a day earlier to try and get into the Summerall sweepstakes to bring one of their own back home. But he had choices. And I noticed, I don't know how many people caught it, but when he went into the press conference and he said, I understand that the fan base is very, very, very passionate. He said very 3 times.
Yeah.
So he has seen the timeline about everybody complaining, John Summerall's the coach. What are we doing?
Yep.
So he saw that and still chose to accept the job and be like, you know what? I'm going to prove these guys wrong.
Yep.
So
he wanted to take on this madness.
Oh, absolutely. He lives for this kind of stuff. He's a little bit crazy in the right ways from 100%. What I can see. Obviously, we haven't seen him on our sidelines yet. We haven't seen what he can do at the University of Florida. But the energy and the message and the way he got that message across in his press conference was night and day from what we saw from Billy Napier 4 years ago. He didn't say, I'm a process-oriented guy. It's going to take a while. It's more important to trust the process than it is to focus on the end result right now. He said, no, I'm going to win. I'm a winner, and we're going to do it right now.
We're going to do it very quick.
Which is obviously, in this situation, exactly what everybody wanted to hear.
1,000%.
So, and then the other thing you were talking about with the coordinators, he was on a podcast and said what you were talking about, his guys from Tulane. He said, I love my guys, but they are not what Florida needs as far as bringing them to Florida as play callers. Now, he could very well bring 1 or 2 of them to Florida as position coaches because he believes in them in that aspect. But he was not going to bring a G5 offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator to Florida. And that as well separates him from what Billy Napier did in
1,000%.
just 24 hours after his press conference with his first hire.
Yeah. And touching on that too, I kind of understand. Let me actually backtrack on that. I got what Billy was doing. He was bringing guys that understood what he wanted to pin in there. Like they understand what he wants to run. It's like they're clicking. I get that part of it, but I think a lot of people on the timeline are going to probably freak out if they see like what I think is it Corand. I can't think of what his offensive coordinator right now is. Conrad, I think it is actually. Coach Conrad or something along those lines. I think if the timeline sees that he's hired, I think people are gonna spaz out. But it's not. I don't care if he comes. If say, I don't know, whatever he specializes in. Say it's tight ends. I don't know exactly, but if it is tight ends and he does come over and he does coach tight ends, he's taking a demotion to come and coach at a bigger university, which happens all the time. You see head coaches leave a smaller school and go to a bigger school, and then they'll be OC, DC, or even sometimes a little, different roles that they go to because they're just in a process of moving up. So I'm not mad if he brings them over. Another thing, like you said, based on just like touching on points, and I'm cool with it, and I love it because I like to address like awkward elephants in the room and just see what can happen. When the first thing, I think that his joke missed, but him addressing, like him just saying the name Lane Kiffin, I was like, oh yeah. I was like, you see the timeline. I know that you're reading. I know what you're seeing. I know you saw everybody that tagged you. I did it. I'm like, bro, don't come here, please. Like, dude, go anywhere else. And now I'm like, oh, because I saw people posting like Florida doesn't know what they just got. But you hear Josh Pate, JD Pickle, but I feel like they'd hype up, little Susie Lou down the road if she is to go be the coach somewhere, if she gave him a little bit of attention. But this seems different because so many people are saying it. And I'm like, oh man, like we got something here. And I think that this is a real football guy. And this is going to sound bad, but me personally, I kind of like it. But a lot of things that like Billy was talking about is we're going to make sure that they're scholar guys. We're going to make sure that they're this and they're that. And it was like all this stuff. And then they're going to be football guys. And I'm like, no, you are paying them money to come play football. You're not paying them to necessarily go sit in class. You're paying them to come play football. They better be focused. I want them playing football. Like that's just all there is to it. They'll pay someone $1,000, but yo, do my work. And so that's just how I feel about it. That's my I'm like, this is so different. Like, I'm like, this man, like you said, like bite your kneecaps off. And I love it. Like, I was like, this guy, I'm locked and loaded. I'm ready to, like he said, we got to pull the rope the same way because if you're pulling against it, it's going to make it harder. And I'm like, all right, bro. All right. I'm locked in. I'm locked in and good to go. Some of his stats, let me see. Oh, yeah. Another thing about this is one thing I love, too, because Billy was always so friendly with every reporter that was in there. I'm pulling up his stats real quick. I want to read it, but this just clicked. There's so many bangers in this, like in there. But when he says, when he goes, oh, well, maybe I'm wrong. And he's like, you can remove the maybe. He's like, you're wrong, cuz. And I was like, oh, my God. I was like jumping up and down. I'm like, oh, we got one. I'm like, he is going to give these reporters hell in these press conferences. But you gave a little rundown of him, former linebacker at Kentucky. He became a head coach in 2022 for Troy, went 23-4 there. Like you said, he had some good players there, but you got to keep those players there. Hired at Tulane in 2023, and he went 9-5. And now this season, he's currently got them at 10-2 with the conference championship on Friday. I think he really addressed it perfectly, though, saying that like he turned on the lights and like the cockroaches scattered, and he was like, "Wait, I need some players. Like, where are y'all going?" And he said something. I can't remember the number now off the top of my head. I wish I'd wrote it down, but I think it was like 5 returning players or some crazy number like that. I mean, they went in. I also read somewhere that who his quarterback was going to be transferred to Duke and got paid more to go to Duke than Tulane's entire NIL amount for football. I'm like, that's just mind blowing.
Yeah, so his quarterback Darian Mensah at Tulane, his first year, obviously had a phenomenal year. Got paid. I think the number that was flying around was $4 million. I don't know if that number is true or not, but that's the number that I think On3 posted when he transferred from Tulane to Duke. That number is higher than John Summerall's salary was last year.
It's insane.
So we're talking about his starting quarterback getting more than what he was making to coach the team to go play at Duke. And then they lost Mekhi Hughes, who was their all-world running back, who had 2 straight 1,300-yard seasons, went and transferred to Oregon. And I think he ran for like 75 yards this year at Oregon. So it's a little cautionary tale about the transfer portal. It's not always better somewhere else. Obviously, Darian Mensah has had a fantastic year for Duke. He's taken them to an ACC championship game. So great for him. And I think the other big thing that he said is if the guys want to leave, they're going to leave. Yeah. Obviously, you're going to try to keep your talented players around. But at Tulane, you don't really have the ability to say, you know what, don't go anywhere. Let me go find some more money for you. Yeah. He's going to have the ability to do that at the University of Florida with the booster base, the NIL, the rev share, all of that. So while he'll say something like, hey, do what's best for you, he's going to be able to keep the people around a lot easier here at the University of Florida than he could at Tulane. And for him to be able to lose your starting quarterback, your starting running back, along with a ton of other people and be 10-2 this year, phenomenal work.
Awesome. I'm all for it. And I think that's the big thing too, is when it comes to, like you just said, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, because I think that you look at Tulane, and I think one of the first things that anyone will probably say about Tulane is like, oh, their jerseys are clean. Like, I like those. But outside of that, you've never been like, oh, they're a powerhouse. Like, they're going to make a run, in the playoffs. They're going to make a run for the Natty this year. No, it's usually just like, oh, they look good. And you can't knock some of these players, like a quarterback going to Duke. I mean, you can't stop that. Duke's got money there. Duke's got money they'll throw around. If they see a guy, they want him. Okay, he's at Tulane. I'm going to offer more than his coach is making right now. He's not going to turn it down. And you can't knock him. That's my big thing with Florida right now. Don't talk about the NIL. Be about it. All right, Gary, you got what you wanted. You got it. You pulled our name from here, whether you want to say you did or not. You pulled your name. Go put the money out there then. You go make sure. I have a question for you in a few. I didn't tell you about it beforehand because I want to throw it at you so we can see your like real raw answer. But retaining players, there's no reason that you should be picking who's going to stay. Pay them money. Again, some of these offensive players you're going to have people leave. It's a coaching switch. You're going to have players that no matter what, they think, well, if these guys stay, I'm still not going to play more than them because I just know they're better than me. So I'm going to transfer and I'm going to go somewhere else. That's fine. It's going to happen. We'll bring in more people. He had made it known he's fine with the transfer portal. I'm cool with that. I was kind of frustrated with Billy that he didn't go after like corners this year. And you see, they start getting hurt and we start getting real thin. You don't go after safety. So it's like, so that's your jump. You go Jordan Castell, true freshman safeties. Like that's your in between. That's what I can't get behind is that you're not filling those pieces. Like even if you go get a senior that comes in there and they're fighting for a spot, like, and that's another thing I want to see from John. I want to see competition. That's it. Compete every day and put whoever the best player is. And I don't care what position it is because people are like, well, I don't want their competition at running back if Jaden Ball stays. Well, guess what? There's not going to need to be. That's the best running back in the SEC. And if he had a better line, he'd be number one overall. Yeah, I could go on about his press conference for hours. It's insane. I love the fact that he got hired. It was announced Sunday. Was it official Sunday? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunday was official.
He was in Gainesville Monday for his press conference and team meeting.
Yeah. So that's 2 days later and we already got a DC, and I get it. Everybody's going to look at that and see, oh, they coached together at Kentucky, and it's like, oh, well, this is his friend. I touched on this a few minutes ago, but I'm going to reiterate it. He never said he would never hire a friend. If you are a friend that is qualified to coach, that's like someone like looking at just some of these different players, like say a Chip Kelly or something, right? And it's like, well, Chip Kelly's my friend. Like we coached together before. This is my friend, and you hire him to be an OC. Well, it's like, yeah, no, duh, he's qualified for it. He should be there. Same thing with Brad White getting hired. I don't care that they're friends. That means they gel. They understand each other. They're able to click there. But the one thing that I love from what it sounds like from him is if Brad isn't cutting it after year one, if year one we're just getting torched on defense, he's going to look at him and go, hey, you're not fit for this. We're not winning. You're going to go. I'm bringing somebody else in. Like, I don't know if you got that vibe from him, but that's the vibe I'm getting, at least. You know, how do you take that?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy to not cut the anchor loose if it's taking him down.
Yeah.
Like we've said many times already tonight, he's a winner. He's going to win, and he's not going to let anything stand in the way of that.
Yeah.
Now, do I think Brad White will be a contributor to that? No, I think Brad White's a fantastic defensive coordinator, and I'll give you some numbers in a minute to back it up. But like you said, not everybody, there are certain people that are looking on social media and saying, "Oh my God, he coached with him for a couple years at Kentucky. I thought he said he wasn't hiring friends." Well, it doesn't matter. Like if one, like you said, continuity, they've worked together before, so they know it's going to work. Two, you're hiring an SEC battle-tested defensive coordinator that's been in the conference for 7 years.
Yep.
And has had top 45 defenses in the country for 5 of those 7. And he was top 10 once and top 25, I think, 3 times in that time period. So I'll run down this real quick because I had a buddy send this to me, so I didn't have to do the research. I appreciate him helping me out.
That's always the best.
But in 2019, and this is going to be a comparison between Florida and Kentucky in this time period. So 2019, Kentucky had the 14th ranked defense in the country when he became the defensive coordinator. At that time, Florida was 7th.
Okay.
That'll be the only year that Florida finished better in total defense than Kentucky did nationally. 2020, which was the all SEC schedule during COVID, Kentucky finished 45th, Florida finished 74th. 2021, Kentucky finished 26th, Florida finished 73rd. 2022, Kentucky finished 11th, Florida finished 87th. 23, Kentucky had a rough year, 61st, still finished better than Florida at 78th. 24, 32nd, and 44th for Florida. And then this last year, Kentucky, when it seemed like good Lord, when it seemed like Stoops kind of packed it in this year, the defense struggled. But if you look at the numbers, and I talked to my buddy about this today, the numbers started to decline for Kentucky defensively when NIL started coming into the factor.
Yeah.
So you talk about 19, 20, 21, 22, never finished worse than 45th and finished in the top 15 twice.
Yeah.
Then once NIL came into the picture, Kentucky's NIL typically goes to basketball. Not a ton of NIL getting spread around to football.
Nope.
And that is when the defense started to decline and was still better than Florida's 2 of the last 3 years. So you've got a 7-year defensive coordinator that's been in the league and has proven he can field a good defense, that now has the NIL backing of Florida, the talent-rich recruiting ground of Florida, and I'm excited to see what he does because he's put out some really good products.
Yeah, so here's a crazy stat that was sent to me by a friend as well. Over the last 7 seasons, Georgia has been held under 17 points in league play 4 times. 3 of those occasions were against Kentucky. It speaks for itself. I think that I see a few people. There's some here and there's of like, oh, what is this hire? And I'm like, what, do you want him to go hire Dan Lanning as our DC? Like, I don't know what you were expecting. LSU, it was posting the boards of LSU that if they lose their DC to Tulane, Coach Baker, that Brad White is who they should call. So I'm like, you got other schools that are looking at him, and I get it. It's forums that are posting it. Like you said, promoted to DC in 2019. Their defense has consistently ranked among the top 45, top 25 in 18, 19, 21, 22, like you said. In 23, Kentucky forced 18 turnovers. So he teaches the guys to attack the ball. I think it's a very see ball, get ball type of mentality. And again, you hit the nail on the head. And I feel like people just are not looking at it. They just, I don't know. And I fall victim to it sometimes too. I think that we want to see a guy that we hired. And as soon as we see he's hired, it was like number one defense, number one defense, number one defense. It's just like, well, guess what? That's not going to happen. Like, you're not going to get that guy, because if that's what he's doing, he's probably going to be a head coach, aka a Dan Lanning, or they wanted like a name. I think that the one thing is that if we'd went and hired Will Muschamp as a DC, I think they'd have loved it. But I'm like, he hasn't been a DC in a while. I'm not saying he couldn't do it, but there's different schemes and different, ways of playing offense that you may not be accustomed to right now. And you may not like what you have to see if that is who you got just because you wanted that name. So taking the name out of it, looking at his stats, and again, like you said, what is Kentucky more focused on? Basketball. They just stole a guy from us and paid him a boatload of money. They're not looking at a DB that they want to bring into Kentucky. They want to see someone that can shoot the basketball. That's all there is to it. He's going to have a crazy NIL package here, as long as I just want to know that he can recruit. That's a big thing here. I get it. Like, that was the one thing that I think he caught himself, John did, in his press conference. I think he went to make a comment like Dan Mullen did, and I think he was like, oh, let me not say that, because he went to say, like, I'm coaching the guys here, and then, like, I'll recruit when I need to, but then he's like, oh, I'm a recruit, like, my hair's on fire. So he caught himself. But yeah, he's going to have better guys here. And if he can bring that defense over to Florida with the better athletes, and we take that money and you go buy him a 5-star DB, a 5-star linebacker, you get him his guys, it's only going to get better from here. The problem is if he's way too good, we're not going to have him that long. But I like him, honestly. I really do. I like him a lot. I like what I'm hearing, and I like, again, Tulane's DC is not hired as his DC. He wants to bring him over to coach whatever, to coach DBs. If he's good at that, fine, but I like this hire. Diving into OC, you don't have to really throw names out there. I think we all know what we want, but is there somebody that you have in mind that you'd like, or a couple guys?
Yeah, so I think the names that have been popular, obviously Cade Bell. I think that's one that his name gets brought up a lot because of the relation, because of his dad was at Florida.
Yeah.
But he is a successful OC. He's just only done it for a couple years at the P5 level. I would like to, if he's the hire, I'm not upset. Runs a nice offense. The only thing that I've noticed over the last couple of years at Pitt is when he plays a team with a really good defense, they struggle.
Yeah.
They'll put up points on bad defenses. They did it against Florida State. They threw the ball all over the yard, ran the ball. But when they play a really good team, or they play a team that's got a superior talent level on the roster, they tend to struggle a little bit. Now, is that an issue where the talent at Florida being elevated on the offensive end prevents that from happening? We don't know. We haven't seen it. But it's very possible that could be the case. Obviously, the next one is Georgia Tech's offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner. That's probably the number one guy on my list right now, of realistic targets. Obviously, I could say go out and hire freaking Will Stein, who just took the Kentucky job, and be like, oh, bring him over as offensive coordinator. Like, obviously, that's not going to happen. But I think Buster Faulkner is a very real possibility. I really like him. He's been successful everywhere he's been as an offensive coordinator. when he was at smaller programs, they led their conference in passing yards. Obviously, the difference this year is you have a guy like Haynes King at quarterback. Haynes King has told him flat out, give me the ball.
Yeah.
So you're going to run that guy 25, 30, 40 times if that's what it takes to win the game.
Yeah.
And that's what caters to his skill set. I think that's the thing that I like most about Faulkner is that he tailors his offenses to the personnel that are on his roster. He's run air raid, he's run spread, he's run power. So that is what makes him my favorite offensive coordinator option. And then the other one that's been thrown out there is the offensive coordinator at Tennessee. I think the biggest question mark there is, do you know who's really calling the plays? Because Heupel's been an offensive coordinator everywhere. He's called plays as a head coach. There is an article that says that, I think his last name's Halsell or something like that.
Yeah.
That says he was calling the plays this year. Do we know if that's true or not? We're not in the headset on Saturdays.
Yeah.
So, but he's another younger guy, explosive offense. The one thing I will say that I really like is Summerall said flat out, we're at the University of Florida. We have to score points. We have to have an explosive offense. And all of the three guys that I just mentioned that seem to kind of be in the headlines for options have put up points and have explosive offenses.
Yep. And I think it fits right in with Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech is a good school. I think they get really good players, but I think that when you start getting them Florida athletes in there, and you got, VB3, Dallas Wilson, you got those guys streaking on the field. I think a lot of people don't understand too. I think that when you have a better offense and receivers are actually running correct routes, and actually not just your number one is running a correct route, but that your 1, 2, and 3 are running correct routes where they should and when they should in a proper offense, that opens up your players a little bit more. And that's going to give DJ a better chance. I think DJ has a lot to learn, but I think that him playing in a correct offense. Now, I don't know if he could play in a Tennessee style offense. I'd hope that he could, if that is the hire, that he could tailor it down a little bit. Cause I'm going to assume DJ is going to be the quarterback. Just talking from this roster right now, I don't see, unless we hit the transfer portal and they do a legit quarterback competition, I don't see anyone else taking over. But I don't know if he has the IQ to run a Tennessee style offense personally. I mean, that is very fast paced. It's you got to be on the go. Like if 1, 2, 3, like there, he's moving. Like Aguilar was like looking, you see him just like panning and moving. I don't know if DJ can do that. So I don't know if I fully like that hire, but I don't want to hire based around just DJ. I'll say that. But if DJ is our guy for, say, the next 2 years, we're going to need to help him a little bit. I don't know much about this guy, like, overall. I looked him up on YouTube. It's GJ Kinney, I think it is, from Texas State.
Texas State, yeah.
Yeah, dude. And I watched his offense, and then I went and looked just at what his salary is, and I'm like, I mean, you might be able to buy him. I don't know what you're trying to pay, but you might be able to get him. Now, I get it. He's a head coach. But again, that kind of falls into what we were talking about. Go from a head coach to where you're the head coach of Texas State, and then you take the OC job at the University of Florida, take a little bit of pressure off yourself, but now, you're at a bigger school, making a little bit more money, dealing with better athletes. He's one I'd like. I haven't heard a whole lot about him. His name's just been tossed around in the Discord, and I went and looked at him, and I was like, oh, sign me up. Like, I was like, that's my number one guy. If that's even a mere possibility, I'd love it. I will say that I love that Texas, their OC was just hired to take the North Texas job. By all means, I did not want that offense here, to be just completely honest. So that's my big thing. I know he's a defensive guy, and I'm going to trust his defensive hire. I think that he sets his ego aside, it feels like to me. Like him going and hiring a guy that has been a DC in the SEC for as long as he has, and bringing him in, he's like, hey, I need your help. I can't do this alone. Like, I can't just call all these plays. Like, let me have my hand in the mix a little bit, kind of like Lane does with offense. Charlie Weiss calls the plays. He has his hand in the mix a little bit. Cool. Let that happen on the defensive side. Offense, he said it perfect. I don't know if he just fully did his research and he was like, man, these are bangers and I'm going to have these guys like hyped up. But him bringing up, Bob Stoops and him saying like, I know I'm a defensive guy like that, but I want to light up the scoreboard the way that he did. That's what I want to do. And I'm like, stop it, bro. Stop. Like, I was like, I'm supposed to hate you right now. I'm supposed to hate you and I can't do it because you just keep talking so good. But yeah, I can't wait to see the OC hire. That's a big thing. I think he's a football junkie, honestly, and saying that every place is different. Like, he's expressed it. I had to do different things at Tulane. Again, he can only hire certain people at Tulane. Look at his coaching pool now, $16.3 million to go and hire guys. Again, you got to divvy that out. That's fine. But if you need to spend $4 million on an OC to get yourself out there scoring points to make it pop off right away, go ahead. I don't care how you do it. I don't know how much you're going to pay certain guys, but that's what you have to do. You got to take a page out of Billy's book. Scared money don't make money, so go spend it all. Every penny that they got, and you know what? Go and sweet talk Gary, and if it's $25 million NIL package, go sweet talk Gary and get $3 million more. I don't care how you do it. He seems like he can talk, and he could probably sell ice to an Eskimo at this point. So here's the question I had for you. And it's a toughie just because it's so hard to choose. But I'm going to give you 2 on offense, 2 on defense. You can only pick 2 on each side to 100% keep on the team. Who are you picking?
Damn.
I know it's tough.
I think the easy answer on offense is Jaden Baugh.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. God, you make me choose between Dallas Wilson and VB3.
I know, that's why I do it.
I think it's probably got to be. God damn, man, I don't know if I could choose between the two of them. It's tough because I think they're both so different, but so special in their own unique ways. Just because we saw more from VB3 probably this year, I'd probably say VB3. That's not a shot at Dallas Wilson. I think Dallas Wilson can be one of the top wide receivers in the country. We just didn't get to see much from him this year, but he single-handedly took over the Texas game. So to not pick him is not a slight towards him. It's just because of knowing what we saw, and VB3 was able to help on special teams. As far as defensively, I think it's a little easier for me on that end. I've got to go Miles Graham and Jaden Woods.
Yep.
So obviously Miles is your unquestioned leader on the defensive end, and quite frankly might be your unquestioned leader on the entire team. Kid bleeds orange and blue. He's done nothing but the right thing since he got to campus. He led you in tackles this year. He's your green dot guy on defense. He's the alpha.
Yep.
And then Jaden Woods flashed so much this year. As a true freshman, just phenomenal player. And I think he's going to continue to get better with better coaching and refined and a better defensive scheme that I think he's going to benefit a ton from a guy like Brad White, a guy like John Summerall, helping them out, because Brad White has been a defensive coordinator and outside linebackers coach for, I think, the vast majority of the 7 years as his DC tenure. So, I mean, him being able to work with a guy like Jaden Woods, who's probably as talented as anybody he ever coached at Kentucky, would be huge.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we're both on the same page. I have a reason for VB3 over Dallas Wilson. It's technically 2. The first one is just being available. And that's no slight on Dallas Wilson. I don't know overall what injuries he had that like held him out for so long, and then he gets hurt again. And to me, I'm like, okay, that raised a little bit of a red flag. Don't get me wrong, I want him to stay, but VB3 was out there. Like, he was there, he played. That's number one. Number two, same thing with Miles. He is a Florida Gator. I mean, you can tell that the second he got there, and I don't care. People can be like, they can show the picture of him throwing up the U and visiting Miami. And I'm like, that was never. He took a visit and he ate your food and he probably took some of your little bit of money that you threw at him and he left and he knew where his heart lied.
And he lost a bet to his high school quarterback where he had to throw up the U and wear the stuff at school.
Yeah, he does not care about them. And I'm like, so that's why I personally that's why I'd pick him, because it means something. I get it. Like, you're paying those guys, but then there's just that edge that I'm like, he didn't have to play. Like, he could have been like, no, like, I'm going to see who the coach is. I'm going to wait it out after getting hurt. Like, he could have sat it out. No, he's like, I need to get back in there. And then you saw it against Florida State. Anytime he had a chance, I mean, I get it. He dropped a pass. He's a true freshman. It's going to happen. I'm sure a little bit of nerves got to him. They haven't had a great offense. He's probably like, oh, my God, I can't believe the ball hit me in the hands like that. That's why I'd pick him. And then, obviously, I mean, you got to pick Baugh. It's just, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You don't come by a running back like him often. So that's my two on offense. And then, yeah, my two on defense is the same. It's Myles Graham and Jaden Woods. Same thing with Myles Graham. I think that he would die out there for that logo. As much as Vernell Brown loves the Gators, I'm like, I feel like Myles Graham is like us. Like, I feel like he's a fan like us, and that, like, when offense is out there, I feel like he's watching. He's like, oh, I love this. Like, I want to, he'd be in the stands and playing at the same time if he could. And then, yeah, Jaden Woods he's just got that build and that physique, like just the physique that what those great Penn State edges had, but we got him in Florida. And I feel like being a true freshman, like, he's only going to get better. Like, he is going to be so special. So, yeah, those are my four that I'd keep. I would love to keep a lot more, though. A lot more. I want to keep Dallas. I want to keep some of the young bucks that are out there. I'd love to keep Laganza. I want to keep Stubbs. I think those guys got bright futures. I just think that they're put in a bad situation. So, last question, because I think it's kind of obvious with the decommit that we just had that one of them isn't going to be retained for sure. But if there's a coach that you could retain from the current staff, who would it be and why?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to choose just one, I would probably say Billy Gonzalez. And it goes back to the same things that we talked about with Myles Graham and Vernell Brown.
Yeah.
The guy just loves being a Gator. He knows what it is to be a Gator. He's been here in the best moments. He's been here in some of the worst moments now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a Gator through and through. Making him the interim coach, I think, was a phenomenal move. You can tell how much he cares about these guys, how much he cares about this university. And with Urban being back around the program a lot more now, you kind of see that kind of amplified. Yeah. I've gone back and forth because I've been asked that question a couple times, but just by friends and here and there, just, hey, if you could choose one or two guys to keep on staff, who would it be? And yeah. I've toyed around with the idea of like Gerald Chapman, because I think he's done a solid job with the defensive line. Yep. Jabbar Jalouk, who's done a great job evaluating and landing running backs. Obviously, with the Carson Baker decommitment, I don't think he's going to be sticking around very long.
Yeah.
Mike Peterson's a former Gator, so he knows what it's like to be here. He won a national championship here. He's been through some of the bad times again. But I think based off of everything that I've seen over the last few years and the way these guys have put their blood, sweat, and tears into this program, I think I would probably go with Billy Gonzalez.
Yeah. Here's my thing with Billy Gonzalez. And it sounds so bad. And I hate saying this because I almost feel like I'm like talking trash on like family or something. It just sounds so, it kind of hurts to say it. But I feel like Billy G is that name that comes around, and I almost feel like he's like kind of like the Grim Reaper for these coaches that bring him back. And I'm like, I don't like it. Like, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't necessarily want to just wipe the whole coaching staff. And the only reason I'd be okay with Billy G sticking around is for like retaining the roster, because that's a familiar face. So I think that might be a plus there. And that's the only reason why I don't necessarily see our receivers getting like taking a next step. I see other receivers in the country that are doing better. I mean, I'd love for a receiver coach. I'd love to see what Hartline's making. Let's just see if we can toss him a little bit more. I mean, let's just add a little extra out for him. I know it ain't happening, but I don't see him creating a massive difference in them. So I know that he teaches them here and there. I would say Jaluk would be who I'd want to stick around, just because I think he could help Baugh stay. But I think with Carson Baker decommitting, I just don't see it. So me personally, I would be okay if nobody stays, honestly. And that's just being honest. I hope that our strength and conditioning coach is already out the door. I hope that he is anywhere but Gainesville. Honestly, I hope Florida State goes and grabs him. That'd be great. I'd be fine with it. He'd probably fit right in. He puts a lot of weight on them, and I think it's a lot of Chick-fil-A and like Taco Bell and stuff. But yeah, I guess if I had to pick one, it'd be Billy G, just to retain the roster. If they're even, that's something they want. You know what I mean? I don't even know if that's something these players in this day and age with the money and stuff, I don't know. But it does speak volumes. I will say this too. I know I'm kind of jumping around, but the players not only being right there in the building to greet him when he got there, such as Lagway, Vernell Brown, Miles Graham, things like that, for those players to show up to the press, like to the presser, they don't have to do that. The season's over. They could be like, no, I ain't going to show up. I'm going to hit the transfer portal 5 days after this man's hired anyways, so I don't care, and I'm going to be out of here. But instead, they're like, no, let me see what he has to say. He addressed them and let them know, like, yo, this is for you. Like, it's not about me. Like, this is for you guys. And I think it meant a lot. Like, I know people are saying that we're going to see a lot of people dip, but I think it's going to be a lot of people that are leaving. I mean, you're going to see a couple that you're probably like, dang, that stings. But I don't think it's going to be a whole lot that we think, personally. But again, if they do, I'm trusting that he's going to hit that transfer portal, and he's going to have a lot more money now. He's going to bring in a lot more guys that will fit the mold here.
Yeah, so I think to your point of you don't think we're going to see a lot of guys dip out. I think the one thing that Billy Napier really did well was high character guys and guys that wanted to be Gators.
Yep.
Obviously, that starts with guys like Miles Graham, VB3, Ben Hanks is a Gator legacy.
Yep.
So guys like that bleed for this university, for this program, and it trickles down. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of the reason why you haven't seen a ton of decommits from the recruiting class. I think that's a lot of the reason why, even though they can't officially enter the portal for 5 days after John Summerall is announced, they could tell on 3 their intentions of entering the portal, and they'll have their projected entering the portal list or whatever from the University of Florida. Right. Obviously, there's going to be attrition. It's just natural in a situation like this. Yeah. Like you saw Carson Baker decommit. We will have some guys transfer out. That's inevitable in a situation like this. But for all of Billy Napier's flaws as a coach, as a play caller, he did a great job of getting guys that really love being at the University of Florida. And I think that is part of the reason why the attrition won't be so heavy like it has been for other programs.
Yeah. And to see this team in this recruiting class, like to only lose Carson, was it yesterday that we lost him? Was that this morning? Like, yeah, yesterday to lose him. Or maybe it was today. One of the two, like, you know, they're within a few hours of each other. To only lose him, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've lost anybody else. And have we?
Oh, yeah, he's the only decommit to this point. National Signing Day is tomorrow. Insane. Which that shit snuck up on you real quick.
Dude.
with everything we've had going on, I looked at my wife today. I was like, hey, you know what tomorrow is? It's freaking National Signing Day. She goes, really? The day you used to always take off of work and school when you were younger? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it used to be a huge deal. Now it's like we've been so focused on the coaching search and everything that's been going on that National Signing Day just kind of snuck up. And I mean, Florida's in great position to retain, I'd say 90% of that class.
Yeah.
There are a couple guys that have been looking around.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. Obviously, a lot of these guys don't know who their position coach is going to be. The offensive guys have no idea who their offensive coordinator is right now. Only thing that's been announced is John Summerall as the head coach and Brad White as the defensive coordinator. So, I mean, if they're able to sign, there's 18 commits. If they sign 14 or 15 of them tomorrow, I mean, you're in great shape.
Yeah.
And they just got a prediction to flip an LSU commit today. So
Yeah, that's insane.
So
And that feels
Summerall's been on the
great.
job for 24 hours.
Yeah, and he's already working.
Yeah.
And I saw that it was posted that Carson's not even fully out, that he's just decommitted, which is, you can't knock them. And to be honest with you, like, I'm not going to fault anybody who decides to not come to this class. That's not who brought you here. And I get it. It's very easy to just bring up the money side of it. Oh, well, they're getting paid. Oh, well, NIL is involved. Oh, well, it doesn't matter because they're paying players. It does matter. It really does. That's why you have players who make so much money in the NFL on a certain team, but they ask to be traded. And they ask to be traded because they want to be in a better fit. They want to be around that person that brought them there, especially these guys. You can pay them, I get that, but they're still young dudes. Like, some of these guys are 17 years old still. And they're making the biggest decision they've had to make in their life. Before that, it was, am I eating cereal or am I eating eggs for breakfast? And now they're like, am I moving this far from home or I'm moving this far from home? Like, I get that the money's there, but there's still that part of it. A lot of these kids don't want to be that far away from parents. They want to leave and they want to go be in college, but they're also like, I want, my family to be able to drive up here. So no matter what, all that being said, like you said, if we can retain, I mean, I'm mind blown, truly, that we still have this many guys in this class. I thought some of the guys like Hezzy Kent would leave. I thought that Caden would leave. There's different guys. I got some favorites in the class that I'm like, please don't leave. Like, I need y'all to stay. Like Marquez, I hope he stays. I'm like, please just stay locked in. But again, I get it if they don't.
Yeah, so to your point about Marquez Daniel, so the kid that they got the crystal ball or prediction to flip is his high school teammate at Booker T. Washington in Alabama.
There we go.
The only other school that he took a visit to after being committed to Florida, even after the Billy Napier firing, Tulane.
There you go. That's how, see, this, I love it because I'm like, me personally, and it's hard because I try to think back to myself at 17 years old or even just, freshly 18 years old and try to think about like, what would I have done or how would I have went about it? But it's hard because most of us have bled orange and blue since the day we were born, but it's looking at these guys and just seeing it. Like, again, if there's one thing we can shout out to Billy for is that he did, even with this recruiting class, like, he got guys that want to be Gators. They may look elsewhere because they're nervous or they're scared. But then again, John Summerall comes in and I feel like what he said, he hit it out of the park. Truly. These guys, I know they watched it. I know they paid attention. And if he's talking to us that way, I'm like, how do you think he's talking to those recruits? And it speaks numbers that if he's FaceTiming these guys and you have one decommit, and I'm sure that Carson talked to Jaluk and Jaluk's either saying, one, he's going elsewhere because I'm sure that he's been contacted, or two, he just told him like, hey, I'm not going to be staying here. Like, I've already been told I'm not being retained, whatever. Massive. I mean, I'm just, honestly, I'm over the moon about it. When Billy came, I can't remember what our transition class was. I know we dropped like pretty far down, but he had more time to jump in and get going on it.
Yeah, and I can confirm that John Summerall has not asked for workout tapes from the current commits.
Listen, that all I need to hear right there. See, we just keep getting better and better and better. I mean, golly, I do. I want to see him hit the portal, though, man. I mean, we're gonna need help at O-line. I don't want to be young face there. I don't want to be baby face there. Go get a couple people. I understand the transfer portal is hard for O-linemen, but just go get some guys and let's pin them in. Let's see what they can do. Please. You know what? Actually, I just thought about one question that I'm actually upset about because I have heard that he had multiple O-line coaches. So I wish they would have asked him about that. I think that they have, 3 at Tulane? It was like something crazy at Tulane, but I wish someone had asked him about that. Like, can we have just one? Is that possible? And not do this 5=1 stuff? But I think he's a great hire. He sold me. Keep proving it to me. Well, I think we'll see something with the offensive coordinator hire. I think that's going to tell a lot. We are just, any of us know it. We're not a defensive school. We're a DB school. We all love our DBs. Got one here, got one right here, got one right there. So we love our DBs, but go get us offense. Go put a lot of points on the board. When we play FAU and then we play the Campbell Camels, I want 80 on them. I don't care. Do not be their friend. And the one other thing I'll touch on too is I think that Spurrier hit it out of the park when he talked about Summerall, is that he is the kind of guy that does not like to lose. That if he loses, I think it's going to keep him up at night. I think he's going to be frustrated. That's what we need. I feel like that's what happened to Spurrier. I think that's what would happen to Urban. I don't feel like that's what would happen with Mullen. I don't feel like that's what would happen with McElwain and with Billy. I think that those were guys that were complacent, and they were like, okay, like if we lose, like guys, we gave it our all. And it's like, nah. I want a dude that's pissed. Like I want him shaking the opposing coach's hand real quick and trying to get to that locker room because he's trying to tear a hole into everyone in there. That's just how I feel about it. But I appreciate you coming on, bro. I'll let you get off here. We've been on here a while. It's real easy when you get talking about a new coach and the excitement to really get going. So if you want, let everybody know where they can find you. Drop all your @s and let them know where they can find you and follow you at.
Yeah. So obviously Twitter, X, whatever it's called nowadays, at Connor Clarke, CONNERCLARKE, right on the screen there. And then co-host now, thanks to Shelton and Dave of High Top Sports Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Every Wednesday night, 8:35 p.m. live streaming. Excited I get to talk to them a little bit about it tomorrow as well, and maybe we'll have an offensive coordinator to talk about tomorrow. I don't know, but we'll definitely have some kids that signed tomorrow, so we'll get to talk about that. The guys that didn't, guys that did. So looking forward to it.
Maybe some guys that we don't know about yet.
You never know.
You never know what's going to happen on National Signing Day. You never know. Well, bro, I appreciate you coming on, man. Again, congrats on the child. That's an amazing thing. But yeah. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Comment before you head out. If you don't mind, smash the like button, share this, hit the subscribe button. If you're not, go find a random person's phone, go subscribe on their phone, keep running up the numbers for us. Basketball is on tonight. They started. We're going to smack Duke tonight. Maybe not. I don't know, but I hope we do. But again, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, go follow Connor. I'm sure you all follow High Top. If not, go follow it and catch them there tomorrow night and grab some merch. Link is in the bottom. And you guys know how we end it here. If you ain't a Gator, y'all know the rest.